And we're live.
And we're live.
Izzy, how are you doing?
Surprise beer. I'm all the better for seeing you, Marcus. How are you?
You're what for seeing me?
I'm all the better for seeing you.
Oh, you're all the better. Also now I feel better that I am seeing you. Is that what I mean? Oh
Exactly.
wow! All right,
Yeah.
right on, right on. So I also feel better
Yeah.
now that I'm seeing you. And cheers to you.
Prost
What are you
to
drinking?
you.
Don't wanna do you want to disclose what you're drinking there? Oh,
A
okay.
delicious Edelstoff from Augustina. It's shiny and
A
gold.
classic, a classic.
It is classic.
Munich's finest.
It's 5.6, which is quite high. You don't see it, I don't think. It's quite high for Helles.
Yeah, but now with the Starkbier side, they are yeah, I think every brewery is releasing various a little bit stronger
That's
beers.
true.
I can imagine you have some experience with that, having had your dad here and showing him around Munich. So
Oh, it was good fun. It was very. I mean, like I said on the last episode last week, my dad loves Munich. He loves Bavarian beer. He's
yeah,
so happy to return. I mean, who doesn't exactly? And at the Starkbier Fest, I had to play parent myself because my dad, he's a tall guy. He's a big guy. He can drink a lot. He can handle it. But the Starkbier is something else. So I had to say, "Hey, Dad, only one massive Starkbier,
oh
okay? Only
wow,
one." I
you're
know I'm
very
so
strict,
grown up.
very strict. Yeah.
I'm very strict.
By the way, it's
But
that. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
no, go on, go on.
No, I'm just want to say, like for everyone else, it's like, what's going on? Why
Yeah,
should he only drink one beer? He's a proper Brit, right? I mean, like, drink one more beer. No, it's Stark beer, which is
strong
considerably
beer.
stronger than any other beer. And so we have this festival here in Munich, Stark Beer Festival, where they only serve that strong beer. And this is actually absolutely true because I think one mass is like the perfect amount, which is
Yeah,
already like a little bit too much already. So it's like the perfect amount. But since it's so tasty and it goes down it's like so
it's
smoothly,
so
you
good.
really feel inclined to have a second one. And this is when, yeah,
Things
um,
happen, and
that
you hallucinate pink elephants and all of this. But so just to sort of add insult to injury there, we were already drinking in the beer garden because it was a beautiful day. We had amazing weather. It was 20 degrees, which is wild.
wow.
So we already had like two mass helles.
Ooh, oh,
And then
okay.
at one point, I was kind of trying to trick my dad into drinking a sourest radler or a radler, which is, mixed with lemonade or mixed with
Yeah,
fizzy
no,
water.
no, Radler is okay, but Sauerkraut, I don't get it. I don't
Oh, I
know.
love
How would you
sours.
want anybody to drink that? I mean, water with beer. What?
I
I
know,
drink
like,
water. I drink beer. I don't know.
Izzy 2 years ago would have been very upset with me, but I like it because it doesn't reduce the taste so much, but it's not as sweet as lemonade radler. So that's what I go for.
Right on.
Anyway,
Different people, different taste. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But great that you had such a great time
Yeah, it was
with your
really
dad. I
fun.
mean, like it's the total opposite. I just had the kids like all by myself.
True.
Becky was on a much needed vacation, well deserved vacation, if I might add. And so I had the kid for the whole weekend, and it was
Oh,
so much fun. Yeah, it was so much fun. But
nice.
all without alcohol. So this was like a
Good.
complete
No
opposite.
Stockbeerfest. Yeah.
Complete opposite. Yeah. Yeah, it
Oh,
was great.
great.
As you said, also a very great day or weekend altogether here in Germany.
Yeah.
And now we have snow again. At least that's what I heard. I mean, I can't see it from my basement, but that's what I
It's
heard. We have
snowing.
snow, and this was actually my April's Fools today. So when I got up, so actually Julius, because like both of them snuck in our beds this morning, and Julius was like saying, "Oh, mom, it's already 7:30 or something like this," which would never happen because he wakes us up at 6, right? So, and this was like, "Oh, April Fools," and that's like, "Oh, it's 1st of April." So I got up, and they actually you saw a little bit of snow coming down, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's all white! What the hell?" And both kids storm out of the bed, like go to the window, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"April, April."
Oh,
So yeah, that was
it
that
was
was
half true.
that was good
It
fun.
was snowing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but they were like super excited, right? And like, oh no.
Oh.
By the way, Wolfgang is tuning
Hey,
in. Hey,
Wolfgang.
Wolfgang, great you're joining. Actually, did a fantastic episode together with with our famous colleague Alex in our daily dose of SEO. So thank you for that, Wolfgang. I wasn't able to
Great.
think before that. And in Hessen, it's saurer gespritzter. They actually do this with apple wine.
Oh, I like apple wine. It's like cider.
Yeah, something like this.
Sauer gespritzter.
Sauer gespritzter. Sauer gespritzter.
Danke, Wolfgang.
Danke,
Wieder
Wolfgang.
etwas gelernt.
Oh, nice, dude. It's getting better. Getting better.
It's getting
awesome.
better.
So regarding news, I was like, really, it's April Fool's. I don't want to click on anything. I think the first thing I saw this morning was something from Barry about John explaining how to increase your DA. And that was like, okay, I'm not going to click on this. This is more than an April Fool's. This is probably even a Rickroll right there, right?
Oh, true.
I didn't want to even click on it. And I was like very cautious today. And we had some exciting announcements from Google. And I was like, is that... you never know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was the coolest April Fool's you've seen today?
I heard this morning.
Look at Rudiger. He's not very fond of living in Britain, apparently.
On the Island of Doom. I love that. Island of Doom.
Is this after Brexit?
It's a good way of saying it. I think one of the good ones I heard about was that Oktoberfest was back on this year, but only for residents of Munich. And I was like, that sounds great. That's a really good idea. And then they were like, oh, April Fools. And I'm like, oh.
But I saw them release, so this was not today. I saw them release actually the poster. So I really think it could actually be happening this year.
I hope so. I hope so.
Joking, by the way, he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
He lives there, right, on the Island of Doom, and
on the Island of Doom. It sounds pretty cool. Let's face it. I want to live on the Island of Doom.
You live on the Island of Doom. Yeah, I love it.
What was your favorite one then, Marcus?
Yeah, I mean, I love what Sistrix has done. I mean, like, I couldn't put it in here because it's like so German what he did, because what he actually did was he translated the whole toolbox into English, into German, which sounds ridiculous, really. It sounds ridiculous. That's why I couldn't put it in the show here, right? Because it's just like, I don't know, what's so funny about that? But he really, I mean, like, really, the dashboard is the Armaturenbrett, the movers and shakers, the Beweger and Rüttler, and I was laughing really hard because I was actually using it this morning, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here, right?
So it's like literal translation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Totally bananas. Totally bananas. That was really fun.
Wow.
And we actually, now I remember. I actually fell for our April Fool.
Me too.
Julia saying, "Oh, if you extend unicorns real, I'm sorry. God, unicorns real. It will actually turn into." Oh, you've just put it in here. I love it. Yeah, you can put it into pink. And this, obviously, I immediately tried it. Just for getting the screenshot. And then it didn't do anything. And then I'm like, well played. Yeah. This isn't full, right? Or did I mistype it? No, this is really...
I honestly checked my URL bar 7 times. Did I write it wrong? Was I missing the question mark? No, it's just...
I really fell for it. And you did too.
I really fell for it.
That's funny. I really wanted it. I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, we've been talking about dark mode, and it was like really, but this will be really cool to work with, like having the workshops and the demos and that kind of pinkish. I loved it, and then it's like, oh, well played, Julia. Thank you very much. So I fell for 2 jokes. Apparently. Delight, hi from Akif. No worries.
Hey, Akif.
You're here. Thanks for joining. So if you fell for it, or I mean, like everybody here watching fell for it, we did too. And I didn't check it 7 times. That's a bit too much. I was like immediately, oh, okay, she got me right.
I was so hopeful to have it. I was very excited. But it's been a hard day, Marcus. It's been really difficult to know what is real and what is not.
Yeah. That's
just everywhere.
But by the way, did you see from other something from Google or something from another SEO company, like tool company or anything else? Did you see anything?
I didn't see much. I'm not the biggest fan of April Fools. I mean, I think the ones we've seen this year have been funny, as long as it's not for someone else's expense. I think there was one about Big Ben, where the new Big Ben, you know, the big clock in London.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, good. You looked very confused. Like, who?
No, I don't know.
Ben?
You're talking about a friend of yours.
Yeah.
Oh, you know
Big Ben down the street.
Big red. I don't know. Big Ben.
That they unveiled like its new design, and it's like covered in gold, and it looks awful. And you know, like in the UK, prices are going up, and everyone is pissed. And then Big Ben is now covered in gold, so that was like a bit of a tasteless joke. But that was like the only bad one I saw. But I haven't seen that many today, actually.
I actually saw this one from Dyson, which looks a lot like a Bane mask somehow. But then I thought, oh, that's not even from today. Oh my God, that must be true.
I thought it, it's real.
And I'm a big Dyson fan. We got 2 vacuum cleaners from Dyson. I got the Dyson hair dryer, by the way, which is the best hair dryer in the freaking century. I love Dyson products, and
it's really good.
What? Why? I don't
the
know.
Dyson household.
Yeah.
I must admit, let's not talk about it too long, but I do love the vacuum cleaner. It is amazing. I feel so grown up just saying that.
Yeah, the big one, and also the portable.
I have the handheld one.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's really, really good. And again, also the hairdryer, freaking phenomenal for so many different reasons. Also, I'm a big Dyson fan. Also, this is
there you go.
Yeah, really cool.
This show has so many levels. So
absolutely.
Product advice now and everything.
Yeah, maybe you will see a Bane mask, you know, like, because it's also a headphone. I'm going to sit like.
I could so imagine that, Marcus. I could.
Would really make me super brilliant.
So if anyone in the chat has some examples of funny April Fool's jokes, let us know.
Yeah, if somebody fooled you, let us know. And also if you've seen anything else out of the SEO community. I mean, I saw something we're now doing also SEO for outer space, and I was like, I mean, at least it needs to be a little bit of could be true, could not be
believable.
True, right? I mean, not so super obvious, but I also remember so many good SEO jokes, like from Google, what they were doing, and I was like, really, did I miss it, or I don't know. So if you've seen anything, let us know in the chat. We would love to hear what you've seen. But I guess let's talk about some news. I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff happened, and I really hope we don't cover anything which turns out to be an April Fool's.
That would be embarrassing.
By the way, talking about embarrassing, this happened at SMX Munich way back with Alexander Hall. So he was on a panel, and this is no joke. He was like really, and this was, I mean, like, again, like a year later, right? I mean, like, this, because SMX Munich was always, no, like before, as so in March. So this was like from April before, and Alex was asking a question about a certain tag and its impact, and did it have an impact on the SEO community or whatever? I don't know the exact question, because this is like 12 years ago, whatever. And this was actually an April Fool's that Johannes did. Like, he blogged about, I really don't remember, I wish I did, about a tag, and he was referencing this, and we're like, we're looking at each other. Is that true? You know that was April Fool, and he was, oh my God, really? So this happened really at SMX. He mistaken.
Poor Xander.
It was super funny. Although I can't now explain it. I'm gonna look for it. I'm gonna look it up. Maybe I find it again.
So Brighty has sent me one as well.
Kannst du mit dem Dyson-Föhn besser Tiefkühlpizza packen? So, I mean, like, obviously Hans, famous head of SEO at chefkoch.de. I mean, one of the biggest sites and biggest SEO overperformers in Germany. He obviously knows the story when I was trying to write a cookbook on how to cook with a
hairdryer.
Hairdryer. It's a long story. It's really a long story. Actually, a Michelin-starred chef who wanted to do this together with me, basically come up with recipes you could actually hair dry. It's a long story. Again, I don't want to
do that next year.
But he knows that, so he's like, no, no, playing me here with. I've not tried it, Hans. Yeah, I've not tried it, but it's great.
It's perfect for next year's April Fool's Day with your cooking book.
Oh, that wasn't April Fool's. That was.
But this should be next year.
I really wanted to do this. I really wanted to do this.
So this was from Brighty. He sent me this link. I don't have Facebook anymore, so I can't open it, but I don't know what's going on.
Wait, kommt die erste Wendelrolltreppe vom Bahnsteig inzwischen gegründet.
Is it like a spiral staircase?
Yeah, as a.
I
mean, like with
spiral
escalator doesn't
escalator.
work, right? That's funny. Even
That would be nice.
It's a very elaborate April Fool's prank. It's
yes.
cool. Very elaborate.
Great. Thank you, Brighty, for sending that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Shall we go into the news of the week?
Oh, yeah. And you're really starting with some news. And I wish this would be an April Fool's. And actually, when I first heard it,
really?
April 1st already. Especially as a not just, I mean, like, we don't have to mention this because everybody, I think, has seen this, right? And it's not that they're deprecating, that they're sunsetting this, but in a month's time. As like really the timeline here, right? When they say, oh, we're going to deprecate this in a month, is like, oh, that's quick. And what could possibly go wrong, right? I mean, but apparently, I heard I like a couple of birds singing about it, and they were all like, yeah, there's more people using it the wrong way. It basically creates more trouble than good, which I actually didn't think, because I was always thinking this is very helpful, just as a sort of like a second a second option to really be to be really be on the safe side, especially if you really have to work with a highly parameterized website, right? But yeah, apparently it did more harm than good, and this is why they're sunsetting it. But still, I saw it, and it's like in a month, really? I mean, like, you would have probably people scrambling out of the sudden, and it's like, okay,
I don't know. I mean, apparently less than 1%, only about 1% of the parameter configurations currently specified in the URL parameters tool are useful for crawling. In the grand scheme of things, that could be a hefty amount of websites, but that does not make sense financially, probably, to keep alive for Google. And apparently it's not useful for Google anymore, or for site owners either. So they are way, way better at figuring out which parameters are useful or not on a domain. That was a justification.
You say it perfectly right. I think what you're saying, this is the real thing. They're just so much better right now. They don't need this, right? And even if this is like, we rather want to test it out ourselves, right? Then basically having sort of something which can override something. Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense.
I haven't used it since 2015, to be honest. Have you?
Oh, yeah,
it's been a while, right?
Oh, definitely. I, especially since 2015. I mean, I would say, like 2 customers in the last 6 months who had this. But again, this wasn't like, also with them, it was also set up very good. It was just like sort of like second, the second option they were using there. But
like a fail-safe sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, you're completely right. I've seen it less and less, but nevertheless, I still found it helpful, and just like being like very German, like being on the safe side. I have it here, have it here. It's all consistent. I paint one consistent picture, right?
Yeah. Let's see.
By the way, Wolfgang saying, I will never share a single word about my April Fool's joke with you again, Marcus. You know why? One day, someday, you'll get the story.
Oh, that
Is
sounds
that
exciting.
Now April Fool's? Because I shit you not, I have no idea what he's talking about. And that's the April Fool's here, right? Because you're really
very mysterious.
Sing about it with you again.
One day, someday, you'll get the story back.
I actually don't. And that Also, that's not me fooling you. I
Mm.
feel fooled for you making me think I would know. This is very meta. This is a very
Tell us
meta.
more, Wolfgang. We have to
Yeah,
know.
tell us more. Or if it's correct, then don't tell us more.
Yeah.
It's very meta. I don't know. I don't know.
So meta.
Clubhouse last.
Oh, Clubhouse last year. You did a lot of Clubhouse last year.
Yeah, I did a lot of. I mean, like 150 shows, I would say. Alex, do you remember? Let me do a quick shout out here again.
Alex,
I just,
help.
I mean, like, Clubhouse for me is still a big April Fool's joke, right?
An
But
ongoing one.
yeah,
Yeah.
ongoing. I sense there was something. I don't know. Wolfgang, I think Wolfgang. If
Give
you
us a
feel
hint.
it, dude. No, and he said,
All
yeah,
right.
all right. Maybe Alex knows. Maybe Alex knows. Oh, I think Alex is sending me something.
Oh, I can hear the Slack notifications going on.
No, I don't.
Oh, no, he doesn't.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't remember that was April 1st. Oh, yeah. He was like talking about, I mean, like drug fueled parties at his agency, right? And everything when it would come up, I would be like, oh, this is like going on like Wolfgang's agency. I'm sorry, Wolfgang. I actually really don't remember this was April Fool's. I think it was really just you making a comment and me like pounding it like I like to do. So
Yeah, you
I'm
do.
really sorry about this, yeah. And especially I think you can do this with Wolfgang because everybody knows this is just bullshit because Wolfgang is such a nice, lovely person, right? And April Fools, no joke. No, I mean he's such a nice and lovely person. You know, this would never happen. So I think we can safely do this.
That it works, yeah.
Two things are infinite: the universe and parameter URLs. But I'm not quite sure about the universe yet.
That was a famous quote by Einstein.
Yeah, famous quote. I think from
Yeah.
1974, right? I don't know.
Yeah, could be.
Could be. Could be. Yeah, he was also struggling with URL parameters, like everybody. But then,
Like everyone.
you know, they was using right and everything's good, you know. And now I got Albert like on my phone like the whole time. It's like, hey, Marcus, you know, like I don't want to get into it. That was an April Fool's, but nobody believes it.
Right, in the UK, you're not allowed to make April Fool's jokes after 12, after lunchtime. So you're not doing
I'm not going
any
to say
better
anything
right now.
anymore, Wolfgang. I'm really sorry.
That's it.
Yeah.
So also in Google News, the Google Structured Data Error Reporting gets more descriptive names and context. So the errors haven't changed, just the description. So no panic, it's all good. You just have more indications of what has been affected and what you should do to resolve it.
I tried to look it up, but we don't have any mistakes. We're using right.
Oh, we're so good.
We actually do. We actually do. I mean,
I know we do. Just like 1 or 7. No. We only need to have like a couple of warnings, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Who cares? It's a warning.
No errors. Yeah, but I really applaud this. I mean, like, it's always great troubleshooting this kind of stuff, but it was always like missing something, and now it's like really very concrete. And this is obviously a lot more helpful than before. So thank you, Google.
Thank you, Google. Wanley, who we love, we're big fans. They do fantastic guides and resources. Tomic, I didn't know Tomic wrote this one. Tomic is fantastic, head of R&D at Wanley. They've done an analysis on Wix versus WordPress, but from the perspective of indexing data, because there are a lot of these CMS comparisons out there. It's like price, isn't it? It's like the really sort of simple things, but they've gone one step further for the SEOs and done this analysis. And I really enjoyed reading through it because there's quite this war going on between Wix and WordPress, right? There was this really snidey campaign last year from Wix against WordPress. WordPress had this snarky remark, which I didn't know. Oh, wait. I accidentally full screen. Yeah. So if we're comparing website builders to abusive relationships, like, wow, how bad taste is that? Wix is one that locks you in the basement and doesn't let you leave. It's like a really wild contest these two are having against each other.
I mean, it was a little bit cringy, right? I mean, like this Wix campaign was a little bit.
It was all
cringy.
cringy.
Like,
Yeah.
I think you should really only be doing this if you're like the clear leader here, right? But calling stuff out, it was like, I don't know. I don't know. It might also be me not really being a Wix fan and being a big WordPress fan and advocate. So, but yeah, nevertheless, this was a little bit cringy. And I love the reply. This is like, really, what are you talking about? You know, you're like,
yeah.
Basement and won't let me leave.
So this was a really interesting analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So they gathered a set of 1,000 domains, sorry, and sort of clustered them by sizes. Most of the Wix ones were small domains. I think it goes to show it's more like hobbies or portfolios or small businesses, whereas WordPress is a more established CMS, has a lot more large domains on there. So between 1,000 and 10,000 pages. So it's already a clear indicator that they're different. They have different audiences anyway. So that was just like a good disclaimer basically for the study. But yeah, some really interesting findings, I thought. So overall, a very similar amount of URLs were indexed.
Mm-hmm.
But when they broke it down by size, then the larger Wix websites struggled to get fully indexed, which I thought was very interesting though.
But I think he also says this, the level of index URLs coincided with the distribution of domain size in the sample. So I think this is really just basically like, oh yeah, this is exactly the sample we have. So I mean, like overall, I mean, I don't really get an actionable insight out of this, but what I love is, you know, like one, they do in these indexation studies. I mean, we've seen what they've done on SMX Munich, which is just also fantastic, you know. And I love how they are now going into different systems, different like topics, different niches, and really like comparing like indexing behavior and stuff like this. So I mean, in this case, it's like,
it's hard
Google
to
doesn't care which you're using, right? Or at least like this is the vibe I got from them. But totally, I love reading these studies they're doing, and because this is although not in this case, but so insightful.
Exactly. Yes, there's quite a lot to pick through here. The general conclusion is, you know, different CMS are for different purposes. One thing I found interesting was the Web Vital scores. Like, in terms of indexing, WordPress was kind of winning on all of the fronts. But in terms of Web Vital scores, then Wix was a little bit higher in terms of performance scores. Now, this could definitely be because there's probably less plugins available on Wix. And also, which I didn't know, that every Wix website is hosted by them. Whereas with WordPress, you have the choice of host provider, which means that there will be varied results for page speed related issues.
I think you hit it right on the nail, right on the head here. I think this is all like one of the big reasons, I think, what's going on there. And also, as you just said, I mean, like there's so much more customization going on with WordPress. And if you look over a panel of hundreds of different websites, I mean, like obviously you will have everything in that range. So I'm not surprised it would come out like this. But yeah, I see them head to head, I think, from the core level. And I think this article really makes it clear. But yeah, nevertheless, I would always choose WordPress. That's for sure.
Yeah. Great. And then next up, another great article from Zippy's, Cyrus Shepherd, who we are big fans of course, like everyone.
Who isn't?
And I really liked this analysis, this data set analysis of, do shorter or longer titles bring you better rankings and traffic? Because I thought there were some interesting takeaways from this.
Absolutely. Super takeaways, definitely.
Exactly. I think the one of the main topics of the article was like, it's not always length, right? It's about making sure Google displays the right meta title. You get, I keep guesses longer. Interesting.
It is
Because
actually one takeaway. Also at least in regards to title tag length impacting traffic, you would see that
yes.
short
So
titles had the lowest traffic overall. Long titles had more traffic than short titles, but not as much at medium length title. But whatever, the traffic was highest for URLs with a title length of around 55 to 60 characters in length. There's also a graph a little bit down there. If you scroll a little bit more.
exactly, yeah.
So I think this is also a great takeaway, that there's really, it really points in that direction. Obviously, it's hard to just really break it down on title length. I mean, obviously it would always depend on the query and everything else, right? But nevertheless, there seems to be at least a little bit of a correlation here, meaning that it can definitely be a good hint to be around that length, because this is exactly the sweet spot where you might not be, where Google might not also rewrite your title, and where everything is can be seen, and it's also being able to display it on desktop, mobile, iPad. It will always be the same kind of thing. So I think the sweet spot is real, and that's a great takeaway from this article.
Definitely. And I also learned something that where is it now? Yeah. So it's not just about extra long titles being rewritten, it's like extra short titles. So titles between 1 to 5 characters long, which can't be anything cohesive or clear. Over 96% of them were rewritten.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much like all of them, right? So
I would say 90% of those is probably just adding the brand, right? So you would have the category that would just say that word, and they will extend it with the brand, and I mean, it is rewritten, but I think this is what's mainly happening here. So I'm not surprised at all for something like this, because I mean, as you said, right, a title with a character length of between 1 and 5. I mean, what could be in? You can't even spell click, right? Not click here. You can just spell click, and where. I don't know.
How do you do it in German though? Because your words are so much longer than my language.
Than my language.
It must be difficult, right? Fitting everything in this amount.
Yeah, I would really say it depends. Yeah,
it depends.
As always. I mean, this is a very novel answer to an SEO question. It depends. Yeah, I know, very novel.
It must be. You must have to be a bit more creative then, fitting everything into this snippet.
Yeah, or how you can write it with easy words and not big compound words or stuff like this.
That's
unless
true.
you're targeting these big compound words, obviously.
Yeah.
Although I don't know a lot of words with more than 55 characters in Germany. Besides what was it? Schifffahrtskapitän, Schifffahrtsmütze. I don't even know. Probably someone knows this famous example. Yeah, famous. I don't know.
Well,
when Marcus is saying you have your own language.
I do.
You have your own language, Izzi.
Islish.
Islish.
So in my German learning expedition, I learned the word for varied, right? Mixed. Abwechslungsreich. It's this tiny word just triples in size. And if you have to translate a title from varied, or take a look at my varied collection. I mean, that's a terrible title. And then you translate it to German, it's woof, it just triples in size.
Sammlung?
Yeah, exactly.
A varied
collection.
Sammlung.
I think Hans has sent the same message 3 times, so he
really wants to get heard here. So the results will also be influenced by Wikipedia. Was Wikipedia excluded from the evaluation? I think that's a great question here, because obviously Wikipedia has the power, or if you analyze something with Wikipedia in there, it has the power to heavily influence the result in one direction. Oh, and Wolfgang knows. Donaudampfschifffahrtsgesellschaftskapitän. And then there's also the Donaudampfschifffahrtsgesellschaftskapitänsmütze oder irgendwie so. Rüdiger, Rindfleisch-Etikettierungsüberwachungsaufgabenübertragungsgesetz. Oh, yeah, that's a new law. Longest German word. That's funny. That's a German law. The Rindfleisch-Etikettierungsüberwachungsaufgabenübertragungsgesetz.
It looks like a keyword bash.
Yeah. Just imagine, like targeting this keyword, which I will actually do right now. I wanna see. Also Rindfleisch. Da ist es. Google even suggests it. I love it. The R key REUAÜG. Oh, and that's funny. On Wikipedia, it's getting truncated. Oh, I'm not going to send you this. Wait, you got to pull this up. This is so funny. Oh man.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, and by the way, Marcus is even putting the thing. Rindfleisch-Etikettierungsüberwachungsaufgabenübertragungsgesetz Beauftragter. So this is the person responsible for executing this law. Ja, Rindfleisch-Etikettierungsüberwachungsaufgabenübertragungsgesetz.
Wow.
I love it. Yeah, try to optimize for that. Yeah, good luck. Because, as you can see, it's truncated, right? So
it's truncated.
This keyword, and it's getting truncated.
It gets a feature snippet though, which is interesting. Yeah, probably because you can't fit it in. Yeah.
People also ask. Wie spricht man Rindfleisch-Etikettierungsüberwachungsaufgabenübertragungsgesetz aus? Yeah. Oh, and then it shows you. Oh, this is funny. Can you open that? Look at this. You see the Lautschrift. How you actually say it.
Rindfleisch-Etikettierungsaufgabenübertragungsgesetz. Wow.
Yeah, it's very. We should do an SEO contest. Yeah, we should do an SEO contest and optimize for a keyword like this. Wolfgang also has a favorite. Stacheldraht-Haarterrier-Züchter Fachzeitschrift. Stacheldraht-Haarterrier. Ach, Stacheldraht-Haarterrier. Ist er der Dog? Stacheldraht-Haarterrier.
I don't want to Google it.
Stacheldraht-Haarterrier Fachzeitschrift. Also it's a magazine about a specific kind of dog. But
I get dog photos, car photos.
Say something else. I don't know. Gotta love German.
I don't know.
Yeah, and this is what I love about German, these compound words, right? I mean, that you are able to write something. I've never heard that word, but you still, and every German will understand the word, right? Because it's just like compounded. And by the way, I'm always telling Jonah, I don't know if you're listening, Jonah or Sam, I always tell Jonah he would love to do this, because this is what's so great about German. You can define, you can talk about a very, 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 very super specific thing, and everyone will understand it. You can make up words every single day, and everyone will understand. Also, this is what I really love about German. Just the flexibility is phenomenal. Yeah.
The Lego language. You can just build your own figurines every day.
You could also do this with Izzi.
The hot new language. I refused to learn German, so I made my own language instead.
There's also Esperanto. Also, just saying.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I should learn that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Anything but German, please.
Arab.
So, Dr. Pete has written a really nice follow-up to the title tag update, which we all remember. We still have PTSD from that day or week or month when Google released this mass update that rewrote many titles in like all the time in a bad way, or most of the time in a bad way. It was really good meme bait for sure. And then they sort of rolled it back a little bit. They kind of calmed it down. So Dr. Pete wanted to check how that's going. Is Esperanto the hot new language?
Okay, yes. Really good. You will learn it.
Yes. So I actually thought this was another interesting analysis from Dr. Pete with some fantastic examples.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was the comparison. So in August 2021, 58% of their title tags were taken. and 57% in March, which is not a big difference, right?
Mhm. So
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. This was the amount that were rewritten.
Mhm.
Sorry, it's Friday. I've had a little bit of beer. It hasn't changed so much for them,
Mhm.
but maybe there are some improvements. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. And as you said, great examples, simple truncation, midstream truncation, excerpt truncation, and also
Yes.
how they're um, uh, adding the brand or adding, also basically removing something and still adding the brand, even adding locations in some examples, which
Some were
actually
really
haven't
good.
seen in the wild. This, I think, was a very interesting one, and also how they deal with maximum verbosity. I also love that example because it was like
Me
pure
too.
keyword spamming and Google like really distilling basically the gist out of it. It's about clubwear, right?
Clubwear.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. Or like
Yeah.
example here with the AMZ showtimes and tickets, as movie times and then showtimes, basically getting rid of movie times, right? Because showtimes and movie times basically being the same, sort of like redundant, right?
Mhm.
And so this is like a high level of sophistication going on here in rewriting these titles. Although this is just, I think this is fascinating, also from a view of like what Google is able to do, right?
Yeah.
As not just taking a title and just like shortening it or putting in a brand, but like really, what are the important words? Now, where might there be redundant words, and picking and choosing, and really, like most of the times, finding a better title
I
than
really like, I mean,
yeah.
that one's a bit ridiculous. That's some bug, but I really like the brunch example. It's like it's gone from
Mhm,
21 best brunch recipes to 21 easy brunch
mhm.
recipes, which
And
was
this is
actually the H1. Yeah.
Yeah, and this was really good. Like also
Yeah.
removing the superlative, and saying, "Oh no, I don't even want that superlative in the SERPs," and basically then choosing something from the H1, which yeah, sort of like tones it down
Yeah,
a little bit.
massively.
Also, great. And again, like that Google is actually capable of doing this is
That's pretty cool.
phenomenal. Like seriously, yeah.
Yeah. And then
Oh
a
yeah,
kind
the
of funny
mid-blended
one
nonsense. Yeah, I love this one. So they're
for education.
taking away the brand and then extending it with the brand. Yeah, that's a funny example. Yeah.
It's like Lord of the Rings for Gondor, but it's for education. Yeah. No, I really like this article. And then like with this more nuanced pie chart, then it sort of makes it seem a little bit more graspable of what
Mhm.
took place there with the SERPs and the different categories of the changes to the snippets. So yeah, it was a
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
nice
And I think
article.
this has so many valuable
Mhm.
advice, like how you should write a good title just by
Yes.
looking at what your Google is doing out of not so optimal titles. And this, like, really, this is a masterclass in title writing. Just looking at these kind of things. Also, this is yeah, phenomenal. Yeah. Really good article.
Yes. Absolutely. Speaking of really good articles, we love
Mm,
this one from Crystal Carter. It was based on her interview with the Splitty of Google. So, 12 tactics for better SEO and dev relations. A really important topic, I think, especially if you're new to this complex of working with development teams, with product owners. I mean, it says a lot about our community or about SEOs when you have to remind them to be polite. But I have witnessed this. I have seen very entitled SEOs and marketers who are very demanding. So I'm
Oh, that
I'm
was
glad
just
that
yesterday. I was no, just
yeah.
I've seen SEOs that are very demanding and very feeling entitled. Marcus, no, I'm not
No,
very.
not
Yeah.
you.
All right.
Not you.
Yeah.
I mean, we work at a SaaS company. Like we're all about like developer relations, right? We sit next door
Absolutely.
to them. We sit next to them. We work together with them. So yeah, I mean, it's a very helpful, it's a really digestible piece. Yeah, so thank you so much, Crystal, for this list.
Great advice here from Crystal. You can really see she has a lot of experience in this, and not good experience, and so this is very very helpful, as you said, like especially this is your first time. Like working in a larger environment with so many more stakeholders where you need people to do something for you, which they might not want to do, and like also this is great, and again, like saying thank you goes a long way.
It does. And just things that you might not even think about, because within the same team, you know, you work very, very closely together. You may be like way more casual. You just sort of like throw requests over and it's fine. But when you're working with development teams who are under pressure from like lots of different angles, then you may not consider the sort of etiquette to go through as well, of like not just giving the right solution or what you consider to be the right solution, but giving them a sort of the right solution, but giving them like a selection. Just say it. But giving like a sort of a selection of solutions, and then they can choose based on their tech stack, on their priorities, and all sorts. So yeah, I thought it was full of valuable advice there.
Okay.
Oh, this was a funny side note. It only has 0 upvotes. It's great. So since John Muller, in quotation marks, because he doesn't exist, you know, John Muller is aware of all SEO tactics and ranking algorithms, which he is not, right? How can one be aware of?
Already the first sentence, right?
Yeah.
Is aware of all SEO tactics and ranking.
He is, yeah. Then why can't he own his personal blog, which he does, where he can do affiliate and many more things, and ranks in the first position of Google SERP and makes millions or even billions of dollars?
I love.
And then John,
right? What
John's
people
top
think,
comment.
you know, this is like, and knowing all the Google algorithms, build a quality site, trying to really be the best possible result, you know, really fulfilling the user intent. Right. I mean, like what I don't know. Also, I mean, like 20 years ago, you could have said this about Matt Cutts, maybe, right? So
Maybe,
he knows the good link networks, he knows the PBNs that are actually working, right? So 20 years ago with Matt Cutts, perfectly fine, right? We would have even talked about this and like really speculating, ooh, maybe he goes into SEO, you know, really cashing in and learn. But these days, I mean, like really Google algorithm is basically like an open book, right? It's very clear what you need to do, and there's no insider knowledge which will, you know, get you to the top of the SERPs, any like weird tactics or tricks, maybe like were very, very short term, but not in the long run. Also not that you would make millions and billions of dollars before getting caught, some sort of thing. But but again, it was so funny. I just had to mention it.
A funny little side note. I mean, we love John Moo's blog. We love his writing style. Very, very dry and funny and to the point. So I'm sure he's ranking #1 for a lot of good queries. So
John Moore.
Oh yeah, what's new in web stories? So Brody Clark, who is like a SERP detective, any changes, he is on top of it, and he also shares that in his SERP timeline, which I can definitely recommend, has found that Google's web stories are now prominently featured on mobile in the US. So there is this really nice new sort of widget that has 3 different layouts. So there's the 2, the 3, and then the 4 there. A great article. Please do check it out if you're working with web stories or with Discover and you want to try and improve your presence there. because not only does Brody give you some really good details about this new feature, for example, it only ever appears on page 1 and on mobile devices at this moment. I thought what was interesting was that a single site can take up to 2 spots on the 3 and the 4. So one site can rank in both areas. But he's also giving some really nice tips on how you can also try to get into this widget there. So if you want to improve your chances of getting into this result. And I mean, he gives a very honest response at the end. I mean, tracking is not so doable at this moment. It's a little bit hard. There are some good workarounds here. And then because he's been experimenting with this publishing format for a while, he's still not entirely sure of if it's worth it or not. It's quite a bit of work to put these in. But apparently he says the CTR is not so strong at this moment. So it could be a really interesting strategy or research to check how to get people from a web story to your products, to your page, and so on. So I think that could be some interesting experiments there.
Yeah, this is super interesting. And this shows a great opportunity right now, because actually I saw a tweet from Lily Ray, I think just today, where she was basically saying she was searching for something SEO related, and she saw this super basic web story come up, which is exactly, I think, this one, right? Basically the basics of SEO kind of thing. So you see how Google is now really trying to push this topic, like really getting to Google creator economy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, as they always do, like put it on the top of the SERPs and you will have savvy SEOs you were trying to gain those spots, right? And this is, I think, exactly what's going on here. And this shows there's really an enormous amount of potential here, because right now there's not enough web stories for all the places where Google would like to show web stories right now. And what I found very interesting is, I actually didn't send you the link to this, but I also found this very interesting, that Paul Bacause is leaving Google. We just had Malte Ubo, basically the creator of AMP, but also like that AMP was created near Hamburg here in Germany, which I love.
True. Yeah.
And Paul was also working alongside Malte on various projects. I mean, like all around great guy. I actually met him in a Google Munich office. And he actually hinted at he wants to get more, as he was doing a lot in the Google Creator community. He was like doing all these tutorials on how to build web stories, and he's now really doubling down on this and wants to do more there. So I think, like Google will continuously, like if there are stories, they will put them in, just like to entice other people to create these stories, because they really have, to start fighting against like the Instagrams, the TikToks, all of them with their stories. They have, so they also have to get some traction in that topic, and they have very lucrative like promotion space in the SERPs to make people aware of this kind of thing and entice people to do these stories. So I'm totally expecting to see more and more stories. So this is, I think, a tremendous opportunity, especially right now, because when it's already full, it's already too late. But now is your basically your time to save a spot at that table, which will be very reich gedeckter Tisch. I wanted to say it like very poetic in English, but I just failed. So it's a
like a feast.
A feast. Yeah, it's gonna be a feast in regards to clicks that you can get. So also check out this article from Brody Clark, and think about what can you do to try it out, and I think it will be worth the while, definitely.
Yeah.
John Miller is a common name like John Doe. Very suspicious. Perhaps all successful pages belong to him. Dun dun dun. This is Hans. April Fools. Not fooling me. There is no John Miller. There's no John Miller.
That's why he added quotations. John Muller. Really? Listen up, sheeple. There is no John Muller.
Oh,
sorry, John.
Yes, there's not. We even get the confirmation from him. So as you can see, it's true. It is true.
Sorry, John. I wasn't really being serious. I know that you are real. We've had at least 3 selfies
Or
together.
do you know he's real?
You have never seen Google and John Moo in the same room. Coincidence?
Who's Google?
You know Google.
Sure.
Google Bing. Do
Oh.
you remember Google Bing?
Please don't get right.com banned from the index, please.
I
Can you
know.
please tame it down a little bit? Come on, right?
Oh, banter.
Site :right.com, no results found. What?
What happened?
April Fools.
April Fools.
Not cool.
Yeah, another interesting and helpful article from Kevin Indig, Kevdig, a big friend of very big friend of his. And, the feeling is mutual, I hope, because you two had a very successful and fun webinar on Wednesday as well, all about e-commerce.
Absolutely. Great webinar. I think all the
Uh-huh.
attendees had a lot of fun in there. It was really good, very engaging audience. And also he dropped so many knowledge bombs there. Basically just let him talk, like give me all the tips on all different aspects that that have an impact in being more successful in e-commerce SEO. It's so many great tips there, very actionable. If you haven't seen it, you want to have the recording, just let me know, or either email me or Izzy. We're more than happy to send you the recording. It's really a really an hour worth your while. And I definitely had a lot of fun. So as always, and Kevin is a great webinar guest.
He is
a great much person, experience, and so much good tips coming there. And and I love the article. I mean, like, obviously about this custom click curves, and especially because he did a very nice shout out to Write, to our underperformer report, because you can build it yourself, or you can just use Write, and that's it. Don't just do it for Write. And so that's it. That he thank you so much for the shout out to Write.
Thank you, Kevin. Yes, I was. It just reminded me of a while ago when I was at Sixt and I was building my own CTR curves, because Dr. Pete also had an article back in the day about building your own, and it took me forever. And then I think a couple of weeks later we had a meeting, and then I learned about the new CTR underperformer report where it's already built. I was like, yeah, amazing.
Yes.
So happy days. But
our users love that feature. It's one of the most loved features, and also for me, I get so much valuable insight out of it, because I really see these, especially around core updates and that stuff, where you really see like, oh, there's a high chance I might be dropping out of the top 10 again for this lucrative term. I really got to get on it. It's sort of like the basically good alert of you should really do something here, or you're basically saying you're okay with losing the top 10 position here, and this really gets you going, because you see, okay, I really need to do something.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, what's up next? Oh, using AI to keep Google search safe. A very important article, important topics here. So, for example, I think one really important takeaway is that Google is using MUM, I never remember the description, but we all know MUM, don't we? To detect a wider range of personal crises searches and then display a response of how to get help there. So I think a very important usage of Google's search technology for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And think again, this is a very fascinating use case for MUM. We had this one use case that we were mentioning before, that it was about like finding different names for vaccines and that kind of stuff, to be able to like show the correct information there, and not really miss something because somebody is searching for something very like extraordinary there. And I also like this, because this is like with domestic violence, there will be, not like always like the obvious searches, right? But like MUM is really taking a look at like what could basically hint at someone being subjected to domestic violence, and basically being able to help them. And so I think this is a great case for MUM really, also to really to be used there.
Exactly.
And this is why I wanted to definitely give the shout out to that article.
Yeah, and there's also some just interesting pointers here of how AI is helping keep Google search safe. Yes.
Search safe, yeah. And they're also
Exactly.
hinting at, that they're going to use it more also for detecting spam and that kind of stuff. So
Genau.
they're really hinting, hey, we're just getting started, and you can really already get a sense of, just imagine, I mean, like, you already see the impact of Bird, which is like, I mean, like, super phenomenal, right? Throughout all the latest core updates, you see how Bird is helping, also already making Google so much better. And with Mom being like 1,000 times, probably a roughly estimate, but 1,000 times better, more efficient, right? You can really get a sense of, oh my God, this is hitting the SERPs like full on, we will have a whole different, much more helpful Google, which will be like understand like everything so much better, and will have a tremendous impact on how people search, and on also what it means for us as SEOs, also in optimizing for these queries.
Yeah, definitely. I also recalled the photo from Lily Ray, who was in Denmark at the SEO Day conference, and Gary
So
Ish
many
was
friends
giving a
about
talk.
her there, right? I mean, like, so many friends. Marcus Tober
I
was there.
know.
Everybody, I had like a little bit of FOMO. Everybody being there.
Same.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my
But I'm
best
sorry,
friend Gary Ish, yeah, was giving a talk, and he said the big sort of headline of like 60% of content is duplicate. It's like, wow, that's a shocking figure there from Google. So there needs to be a lot of systems to support with, conferences. I know.
Yeah, John can't believe it either. I mean, like, the
Did you
person who
have FOMO?
pretends to be John, obviously. Like,
John Muller.
he
Yeah.
really tries to make us believe this is real. But we're not falling for that, April Fools, old friend.
I don't know if John knows what we're talking about. We're referring to this Reddit post where it's like, John Muller, like, you don't exist.
No, he as Hans said, he's like the secret mastermind behind most of like the big affiliate sites, and he's raking in billions of dollars, and he's just really like trying to make us believe that, I'm not falling for this. We're much smarter than that.
It depends.
It depends. By the way, you should deactivate caps lock. Just saying, like, click on that one button. Okay, useful hint.
If you add caps lock to your content, that it has a better chance of ranking in Google search.
Or
did you not know that?
Yeah, he might live in
pro
Bielefeld.
Tip. Bielefeld doesn't exist.
Yeah, I actually was in Bielefeld once. I was there, so it exists.
Thought you were.
I was there. I actually gave a talk there in 1998 about SEO. I shit you not. 1988, talking Bielefeld about SEO.
No, didn't happen.
Caps lock is how I feel inside.
Yes.
And the fun thing is, you really hear him scream in my ear, right? I mean, like, really. I mean, it's like you're not just reading it, but your brain, like, really, it's transforming in it, like if John would be standing next to me and like screaming this into my ear.
I can't imagine that. John just always looks so chill and cheery.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, by the way, astonishing. Like, for all the emails and like stuff he's getting via various channels, it's just like the inner peace he seems to have is
tell us your secret, John.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need to know. How do you?
Oh, by the way, Rüdiger was born there, so might be Rüdiger won't exist. Yeah, because now he's living on the island of doom. What is
real?
We don't want to go into this.
So finally, some news is the highly cited label that is appearing for top stories. I'm actually going to pull up the article because there's a lot to pick through in here. This was not today, sorry, yesterday.
Yeah. I really looked at that day because I was like, it was a little bit suspicious, right? I was still suspicious about this being really like most cited. I mean, like, and now there's going to be like a scale from 1 to 10 on how many citations right? I thought they were like doing this elaborate prank on basically reintroducing prank kind of thing. Yeah, but again, I totally overthought it, and it's real. Oh, look at this without caps lock. Of course, top story, highly cited.
That's
cool.
But I also really like this this new feature of showing a notice when there's not been enough time to provide the results to like a very highly trending topic. That's very interesting, and also giving people the resources themselves to know how to fact check or to sort of proofread for quality themselves. So sort of like self-guided filtering, which is very interesting, I thought.
Yeah, and also about this result, again, this was a little bit
this is
extended.
Extended, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like immediately jumped over and looked for the right.com, what it would say. And so really good. And I really like how they extended this and like really gives you the opportunity to really like dig a little bit deeper about a specific site. You know, is this for real? Is this legit? Also definitely a good measure to fight against disinformation.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I like all of them. This was the one that was kind of like the highlight feature, so that the top cited, there it is, highly cited. Yeah, so regarding how many references they have from trusted sources as well to help people make a decision in top stories. So yeah, very interesting for publishers this week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really, really cool features, and I'm really excited about this highly cited feature. This is really cool, and also very helpful. I mean, also from a non-SEO perspective, this is also very helpful for users. Like really, if I want to read about something, right? What am I going to choose? Definitely. Also, this is a very good improvement.
I like this as well, this fact check explorer. So the fact checking tools that you have there. So have you seen this?
I actually haven't. This is like,
it's nice, isn't it?
I actually haven't seen it. How did I just
It's in time for April the 2nd, which is National Fact Checking Day, which falls, after April Fool's Day.
Actually, I thought it was April 1st. Then on April 1st, you're saying tomorrow is fact checking day. I thought this is actually the April Fools that it would say tomorrow.
No, it's real.
I didn't believe anything today. Like nothing.
It was a horrible day. I had no idea what was happening. What is real? But it's over soon. It's the weekend. We are finished with the news. You're all informed.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely. That's it. I love it. I mean, like we're 8 minutes over time. We got John not doing caps lock anymore, so it seems all fine for the weekend.
Progress.
Yeah. Thank you so much for compiling the news.
Thank you. They're your links.
Have a nice weekend, everyone. Und sehen wir uns nicht in dieser Welt, dann sehen wir uns in Bielefeld. He really seems
to be beautiful.
410, we're gone. And here's caps lock on it.
Gone.
Gone. All right. So I think that's a good punchline here. As of 410, we're gone. So we would like to redirect you from temporarily. I mean, temporarily. Obviously, we would like to temporarily redirect you from work to
the weekend.
Yeah.
4:10. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a nice weekend. Thank you, Marcus. Thanks for joining. Thanks for everybody commenting, watching, or whatever. Have a great weekend. Don't get fooled by April Fools. And see you next week.
See you next week.
Keep on waving. Keep on waving. Keep on waving.